In this part of the tutorial, we're going to need a sound file and a picture file, so the links are in the description to download these. So this is part 4 of the Princess Dragon tutorial, and in this part we're just going to go ahead and enhance our world. The first thing we want to do is go ahead and add a picture in as our background, and it's going to be a picture of our castle. So if you downloaded the picture from our website, or if you found your own picture, you can go ahead into Setup Scene and go to the Shapes Text tab. You should see a billboard, and you want to drag in a new billboard. And the first thing, I want to rename this billboard, and I'm going to name it Castle. And then if you see the initial property values, you should see that the font paint is white. And so you want to click on that and then do Import Image. And then you want to find where your image is saved. I saved mine on my desktop, so it should be there. And once you found your image, you can go ahead and click Open, and go ahead and click OK. And you should see it enter your world. So you want to go ahead and move it back behind the dragon. Make sure it's on default when you move it back. And once you get it kind of far back, you want to make it a lot bigger. So you want to do Resize. You want to go ahead and make it bigger. I'm going to move mine back some more and make it bigger again. If you want to change the view so that you can see it a little bit better, you can, but just make sure that you also change your camera, your original view, to where. And so the way you do that is you just do original view to camera right there, and it should be good now. And once you have your billboard placed where you want, and if you had to move your camera, when you have it as you like, you can go ahead and go back to Edit Code. And remember, this green line, if you have one, will go away when you press Run. When we press the spacebar, we want the dragon to flap its wings. So the way we do that is we use an event. So you need to go to the Initialize Event Listeners tab. And then you'll do Add Event Listener, and then you'll do Keyboard, and then add Key Press Listener. So we want to check if the user has pressed the spacebar. So we're going to drag in an if-else statement, and then you'll drag in an is key. And we want to check if it's a spacebar. So it's not a letter, a digit, or an arrow. So we'll do custom key, and you just have to press the space. So if the user pressed the space, then we want to do dragon flap wings. So you go to the dragon and go ahead and drag and flap wings. And that's all you have to do. So if you press Run, if I press the space bar, it should flap his wings. So I'm pressing the space bar, and the dragon flaps his wings. So the last thing we want to do is add one more scene procedure. So you go to Scene, Add Scene Procedure, let's call it Kiss. Should open up. So the first thing we want to do in this method is just have Alice and Thor turn to face each other. I want that to happen at the same time, so we can drag in a do together. And then if you go to Alice, you can drag in a turn to face, Thor, and then we can go to Thor and drag in a turn to face, Alice. Next, we just want Alice to say, so we drag in an Alice say. We want her to say, "Thanks, I am saved." Then we want Thor to come over to Alice. So we go to Thor, and we go to Move, Forward, and for right now we'll just say 1 meter. We don't know how far Thor actually is from Alice, so we're going to use a function. We're going to use getDistance_to and put it over the 1 meter. And we're going to get his distance to Alice. We don't want him to go into Alice, so I'm going to click the arrow over here and do Math. And then I'm going to do the second option, minus, and I'm going to minus 1/4 of a meter, just so he stops a little bit short of Alice. So now in our kiss method, we want Thor to go ahead and kiss Alice. So we want to import our sound. So if you go to Thor, and then if you scroll all the way down in this procedures, you should see play audio. And then you should be able to import audio, and you'll go to where you saved that sound. Mine's on my desktop. Once you found it, you can go ahead and press open, and it should come up. Then we want Cinderella to move up. So we'll drag in a this.alice. Then we want Alice to move up, so we'll drag in an Alice move, and then Alice will move up, then just 0.25 meters. And we want Alice to move when Thor moves. So we're going to set Alice's vehicle to Thor. So if you scroll down to procedures, you should see Alice set vehicle, and you should be able to drag that in and choose Thor. Now Thor is going to move and turn around one time. So we'll drag in the Thor turn right 1 revolution. And then Thor will say, let's go to my castle. And then Thor will move forward 10 meters, and that should put them off screen. So then we should be able to add this to the end of my first method. Should be able to go to this and drag in this kiss. Now we want to add in text that says the end. So we go to setup scene, go to shapes, text, and drag in a new text model. And you can name it end words. And you want to give it a value, and you want the value to say the end. And once you have that, you can click OK. I'm going to go ahead and make mine bigger. Over in this properties, I'm going to change my words to red. And I'm going to set the opacity to 0 so you can't see it. And then once you did that, you can go back to edit code. At the end of my first method, you want to go to this text model, and you want to find at the very bottom, you want to find set opacity. You want to choose 1. And once you have that, you should be done, completely done. You should be able to run your world and see the whole. And that should be it. Thanks for doing this tutorial.